slid to the right, and I couldn't fix it. I couldn't fucking fix it, and I fucking flipped all the way down. And I said, Scott, do you have a seatbelt on? He said, I didn't have a seatbelt on.
Jesus.
He said, I said, what'd you do? He said, I spread my legs and my arms out like full fucking, like a fucking, like, you know, you're being stretched by multiple fucking horses, right? Like, I spread myself out so that I wouldn't fly out of the car.
Jesus.
And but the thing is that, you know, Scott carry, you know, any off-roader carries tons of tools. He had a fucking, what is it called? A jack in the car. Tons of tools. The tools in the jack, you can see the line of when he was falling because they're all his tools. The jack, everything.
You carry all these tools as well?
Yes, but everything for me is in packages, right?
Okay, so that's what I'm about to ask. That's pretty dumb.
It'll hit you, but it'll, you know, like the whole backpack of full of tools will hit you, right? So it's a little different, right? But nevertheless, we all carry a bunch of shit on us, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you can see the trail. Even his battery is like, it got to be like 120 feet away from his car.
Damn.
Like the car is, you can see, it looks classic, like a fully flipped over car.
That's some totally crackhead shit to go up there with no fucking tread on your tires.
And by himself.
Right.
By his fucking self. No radio. The guy doesn't own a cell phone.
What?
He doesn't own his fucking cell phone. So I you know, I'm like tripping the fuck out. My family took pictures of the car and I'm just treating him, right? So I told him, look, I can't do anything about your fucking hand. And then look, we got to take you to a hospital, right? And Scott tells me, I don't go to hospitals. So what the fuck do you mean, Scott? You don't go to hospitals, right?
I don't trust the government.
Fucking one of those talks about the news and the media and the whole fucking thing.
They're gonna fucking chip me.
Yep. He's all about that life, right? So I said, Scott, where do you want me to take you, right? So he says, I need to just take me home, right? So I said, okay, listen, I drop off my family on the way, right? Kind of near our resort, right? But not there because that's when we got to walk because I don't want him to know where we live, just in case, right? I'm a little sketched out by Scott. Right. The whole time, Scott is telling us about his fucking life. So he just got a divorce 2 years ago, and he's been on the fucking unemployment forever. And Scott basically, he said, you know, he's like, I don't know, I don't like Los Angeles. I said, why don't you like that? I went to go live there with my wife, and you know that's where she had her family, and you know, I came back by myself, and my wife, you know, she's going to stay a little bit longer with her family, and you know, they poisoned her in L.A. I said, why? What happened? He's like, well, I got back, and the police, you know, kicked me out of my house. I said, why'd they kick you out of the house? They said, because I was abused. They said that, you know, that I took her in the forest and, you know, beat her ass, and you know, listen. My sister's the therapist, right? She's in the car with me. We both looked at each other afterwards and like, he beat the shit out of his wife. Right, like the whole story, he beat the shit out of his wife. Yeah. And she had the support system finally with her family and she got the fuck out, right? So anyways, I take Scott.
Scott's a fucking winner,
Scott's a fucking winner, right? So I take Scott to his house. And Scott lives in the part of Flagstaff that is sketchy as shit, right? Old Flagstaff in a house that looks almost like a movie.
He lives in the San Bernardino of Flagstaff.
Oh, worse. It's not even, it's got to be like a 1960 house. It's leaning. There's no windows. It's just
Scott.
Oh, fuck the whole thing. It just looks like a Scott house, right? And when I get there are two people there and they're there to pick up weed.
Scott's got weed.
Scott sells weed.
Awesome.
And he doesn't have a cell phone, so people just go to his house.
Nice.
And Scott brings out this gigantic mason jar.
Don't fucking tell me Scott served them up with a fucking hole in his head.
Hole in his head, with his hands dirty as fuck, just digs into this gigantic, I'm talking about like, this has got to be like a 4-gallon mason jar.
These guys aren't worried about bloodborne pathogens,
bro. Like he's telling them this guy's my hero and blah blah. Fucking,
you get a discount on the weed, buddy.
I'm like, bro, like what the fuck? I'm like, Scott, you keep your weed. I'm good, thank you very much.
So he's a white guy selling weed in a zero tolerance state with a hole in his fucking head. Damn, Scott's a fucking winner.
You know, I tell you, we haven't stopped thinking about Scott. Like, I feel like, because he didn't go to the hospital. I don't know how he fixed his arm. I'm going to tell you something. Fuck his arm. I told him, Scott, I don't give a fuck how you do it, but you need stitches on your fucking head. There is a giant hole. I try to help him articulate.
What happens, Rob? What happens if like you don't get stitches?
It's
on
an
your
infection.
Head? So he'll get like what is it called, sepsis, and like
yeah. And I treated him for infection. Like I
clear. Yeah, he's gonna go to sleep. He's gonna sweat.
Yep. And that house ain't clean. That house ain't
sanitized. He's fucking running his hand over an open wound.
The house
like that guy is not worried about sanitizing.
It was harsh. Like
he's like, it's all gone to shit since Trump ain't president.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of those media lies and all that. So I really am worried about Scott, and look, Flagstaff was great. And, that was day one. That was the first, we arrived at night, but that was the first day we went out. And it just was it was 9 days of fucking just out of control, fucking fun. Had the time of our fucking lives. It's crazy though. So Flagstaff is like this, and goes to the culture thing, right? Like Flagstaff is fucking really cool, up in the mountains town, and it's got like we went to karaoke. The vibe's fucking cool, right? Like mostly white folks, but like they're super fucking cool. We sang. I fucking sang Friends in Low Places, and I had the fucking party bumping. Like everybody was so welcoming. Everybody's like Raul, like such a fucking cool vibe, like
it's like everywhere we fucking go, and it's like Raul, like San Francisco, Oakland. Like, yeah, I get it.
It was like really kind people, right?
Yeah,
and so, but like you could tell, like they don't get out much, and so. They're generally a little bit chubbier, generally a little bit like, a lot of people look like you, right?
Nice.
And, but it was just such a like heartfelt, like welcoming kind of vibe, some tension, but mostly really cool, right? And then you go to Sedona, and it's crazy. Sedona is just the most fucking, one of the most beautiful places. The closest way I could describe it is like a Zion, right? It's so fucking nature beautiful. Just absolutely amazing fucking place to be, right? And everything is breathtaking. And some of the most beautiful fucking people go to Sedona. And by the way, Flagstaff is like 100% white. Sedona, little bit of color. Just a little bit. But in Flagstaff, I was like the only brown person I ever saw.
Isn't it interesting that because we've grown up in Southern California, it's like we're spoiled with diversity.
We are, but the problem, like at least in Dallas, like everybody talks to each other. Here, we're very diverse, but we don't really talk to each other. Like
I think some people are gonna hear this and be like, "What the fuck you want to talk about, bro?" Like, but, I know, but I think that's just the hustle and bustle of LA, and it's just, and also I think it's relative, bro. I think that if we were like, I bet you the people in Calabasas are happy as fuck to be alive every day, and they're waking up happy, and they're like, "Good morning, how's it going?" But like,
yeah, but like, okay, and I'll give you a perfect example. We went to Dallas. Like when I was, so I don't drink, right? And that's probably a topic for another conversation. But what I'll say is that when I first went to Dallas, it was like 5 years ago or something, 5-6 years ago, I couldn't buy a fucking drink. I couldn't buy a drink. I met these dudes downtown and like had all nighter. I'm talking about like I tried sneaking in, and they yelled out to all the bartenders, if this fucking guy wants to buy a beer, you don't fucking let him buy a beer, right? He's a fucking visitor, right? Like
because you're on the wagon, or because
no, I was drinking at the time.
But why weren't they letting you drink?
No, they weren't letting me buy.
Oh.
They weren't letting me fucking buy,
nice.
Right? Even here, right? Like, everybody, like, randoms. We're just, look, me and my cousin, like, me and my 3 cousins, we're just dancing by ourselves. Like, truly, like, we're just, like, doing, like, hip-hop dances by ourselves, and people were around us. Like, it was a fucking fun vibe. And they were trying to buy us fucking drinks. Like, it was just like, hey, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. Like, that shit doesn't happen here. Ever. Like,
I think it's the aggression here, man. Like, a lot of people here are aggressive. A lot of people here are like,
fucking angry.
Fucking dog eat dog.
Just fucking angry. But anyways, right? So
they're angry about rent. They're angry about gas. They're angry.
I'm gonna go back to the positivity and the negative, but it's a good, because that's a good little topic.
Segment, yeah.
But I'll say about, so Flagstaff's that, right? And then you go to Sedona, it's like the most beautiful fucking people. Like,
so
like
wait,
well, go ahead.
Where's this negative stuff that we hear about Arizona coming from then? Like George Arpaio, Sheriff George Arpaio, you remember him, right?
Yeah.
And then like the pulling over and asking you for your papers, like that's an Arizona thing. Like, where is all this negative stuff happening then?
The big cities, dude. Like in the big, Phoenix. Like the Phoenixes, right?
Santa Fe.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, Santa Fe is New Mexico. So Phoenix, what else?
Mesa.
Yeah. That's a big city. Well, Phoenix is probably the biggest.
They're right next to each other, but yeah, like it's all like the big metropolis cities, and and like all those, but like in Sedona, like they don't give a fuck. It is 100% tourists. Like, well, 80% tourists, 90% tourists, and everybody's out there having a blast. Like, I'm talking about anybody that was there, whether you were black, you were white, you were fucking brown. It didn't matter. You know what? It was. You know what it felt like? Like the country's wealth came to visit Sedona.
I wonder if it must feel that. Like, I wonder if that's why like Kanye went to Wyoming. Or like these people go out and like Chappelle went to the middle of the country.
There's something fucking cool about just like disconnecting. Like it was really, I'm telling you, like we spent a lot of time in Sedona because that was a favorite place to be. Like
you think it has something to do with also that like race here and like even police tension is more of a topic here. It's more of like a thing here in LA.
You know what I tell you? Because you can go to parts of Southern California that like race doesn't matter anymore, and I really believe this, that when you get to like a certain like income, I don't want to say income, but like a certain like a shared common like, okay, for example, everybody that went to Sedona, we're all there for the same fucking thing. Everybody there loved nature. Everybody there had to be somewhat successful. And they're not there just for the fucking Miami, the big towns. They don't want to go to a big fucking city to vacation. Like if you went to Sedona, yeah, there's no other major thing around there besides Sedona and Flagstaff. There's nothing around there. It's just Sedona. So people that went there were just going to Sedona, nothing else. You're not going to Phoenix. Yeah, they're going there for nature. And so everybody had this common thing that kind of like brought everybody together. And then there's not a lot of like shitty people. I best way to describe it. It's just beautiful, good fucking people. Like people open the door for you. Like people are fucking kind everywhere.
Did it feel that way in Utah when you were like at Zion and like where there are people like the people here or they're here to hike. They're
here to do fucking cool shit just like you. Felt exactly the same way. Yeah. Really did. It just is a cool vibe. And it was so funny because we went to Grand Canyon the last day, right? And we went to that horseshoe loop, right? That's like iconic, in Instagram photos, right? That big old fucking cool loop. But so the last day, we're like, the second to the last day, we're like, okay, like let's just get a hotel on the way home because from Grand Canyon, that's a fucking, it's 2 hours north of Flagstaff. So we drove 2 hours north, and then you got to drive fucking all the way back home, and that's a 10-hour drive. I'm fucking pooped that day, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, let's just find somewhere to stay. So where do we find? We find Laughlin. And it's funny. And fucking, it's so
all
funny.
The scumbags.
The fucking scum. Like
it's all the scumbags who can't afford Vegas.
We were like, we had so much fucking fun. Like we had the time of our lives for 9 days, and we go to Laughlin, and it is just like, if you've been to Atlantic City, it reminds me of Laughlin. It is just the scum of the fucking earth.
You're like, and that's where I bumped into you. No,
that's where exactly
I would be.
Where you would go.
That's where I would be.
Like if you tell me you go to vacation and you tell me you're going to Laughlin, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, yeah, for sure, that's fitting.
I remember hearing about Laughlin the first time, and then I was like, "Where's Laughlin?" They told me it's a man. It's like the guy. It's named after the guy who built Laughlin, like a casino on a lake. And I was like, "Who the fuck? Why are you guys going to a lake casino? Like that shit doesn't even sound fun."
Yeah, it's like I can see the potential for fun.
Yeah, but it's a bunch of drunk people.
But it's just a bunch of for whatever reason, Laughlin didn't hit, and so you can tell that they are giving away hotel room stays for
it's a second-rate Vegas.
It really is, because it's like they attract like just the scum of the earth. Like everybody in Sedona was all fit and walking, and everybody's skinny and everybody's fucking good. I felt fucking fat in Sedona, right? And then I go to fucking Laughlin, and I'm like, fuck, I'm fucking fit. I'm skinny. I look good. And I don't really look good right now.
You know what's funny? You know who I like? This gets so much fucking flack. But I feel like it's always like those girls or like they're really not girls. They're ladies that are like, they're like Raider fans, and they're like older and they're single, and they're like, I'm going to fucking Laughlin. Like,
that's those. I have those friends.